Yep.
And when they were in that moment of being able to breathe for a second, Nephi was then able to be called unto the mountain, right? We have this temple experience again. And interesting that the Lord called him unto the mountain, but Nephi didn't just go up the mountain and get instruction to build a ship. He still had to cry unto the Lord.
Yep.
He was called, but he had to go up and when I think of like this, when I think of crying unto the Lord, I think of like he had to get himself back into that state where he could properly commune with the Spirit.
Right.
And he recognized that after all they'd gone through, he wasn't there. And he had to go and work that out again. And he had to get back into the proper state of mind and serenity necessary to receive revelation again. And he gets it.
Yeah. Well, and two things here with this. One, the Lord could have, or we assume, why didn't the Lord just immediately tell him, hey, you need to start building a ship? No, there was a process here. And just like you were talking about earlier, he needed to go to a place that was set apart, a place that was consecrated and where he could truly focus on and humble himself and hear the word of the Lord. And that's where he started getting really specific guidance here in Revelation on what he needed to do. The second thing that's interesting that we can learn from this, I'm sure when they got to Bountiful, they thought, maybe this is the promised land. Like, this might be the place that the Lord wants us to remain. It has everything that we need, and seemingly it had so much in abundance that they had enough food, they had enough water. Nephi has enough of abundance around him to not only build a ship, but make all of the tools necessary to build a ship. It would be really easy to assume this is where we're supposed to be. And sometimes in our lives, we do that, where we get to a certain place, we get to a certain stage that we feel like the Lord has called us to. Maybe we say, hey, we need to move, we need to go to a certain place. And we get there and we think, exactly, this is where I'm supposed to be. And then after a season, the Lord shows us, okay, time to move on. And we start to question and we start to doubt and we start to say, well, did I misunderstand previously? Or we murmur and say, why is the Lord calling me on? Well, he's got a grander plan in store for us. And sometimes this place that seems bountiful is, but it's only meant to be that way for a season. And we need to recognize and discern what those seasons are in our lives.
Well, this is the cycle from the Valley of Lemuel now to Bountiful, right? We talked about how it's cyclical, right? So now they're at another place where they've gone through the trials and tribulations, but they've been faithful and diligent overall to what they've received. And now they have this another period of rest, but it's also a preparatory place for what is to come.
Right.
And let's just be a little sympathetic here to Laman and Lemuel, that, like you said, they get to this place which is wonderful, and they think, this is it. This is a promised land.
Not so bad. Not Jerusalem, but not so bad.
And then Nephi comes down from the mountain, and he's like, we're building a boat.
And that could only mean one thing. Hit that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it.
They may seem like little things, but liking, commenting, it helps the algorithm push our content out to more people. So it's our small way of sharing the gospel in a social media age.